Jaya Mukunda Bahasu Gosare Gaya Sangha Bade Ganta Bade Bade Karata Madhu 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 Bade Madhu 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 Bade Chandarini Paranahutvala Baho Kati Chandarini Paranahutvala Sehbana Mahala Kore Dalla Mahala Dalla Re Sehbana Mahala Kore Dalla Mahala Shiva Sukhana Harada Himegada Bhaktivedanta Manor Sampahara Jaya Jaya Gora Sandehe Aratika Soha Aratika Soha Janavita Savahane Ragamanaloba Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pataharine Nirvishesha Sunyavahari Pasatari Satarine Dada Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktivedanta Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Sri Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Sri Hare. Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Okay, we can offer our obeisances. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramhamsa Parivagacharya Asata Shishmatis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Koshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Bhaktivedanta Manor Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Vinda Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samavita Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Hare Nam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai All glories to Assembled Devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Assembled Devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Assembled Devotees Hare Krishna All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glories to Shri. We'll continue now with a prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Lada daine, Hiranyakashe Purvakshaha, Shilatantana Kalaye, Nrsimha Bharata Nrsimha Jato Yato Yamito Nrsimha Mahe Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha Nrsimha Modim Sharanam Prapade Tap Kare Kamala Bhare Nakha Bhuta Singha Kalita Karnakashipo Tanu Brinda Keshabodhita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare अद्भुत सिंह ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु कानुवृन्द केशवदीश जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज नरसिंहदेव भगवान की प्रहलाद महाराज की प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे कृष्ण
So now Prashadam have been served, and the Bhagavad Gita class will start soon. Thank you very much.
Is like way too big to put on the profile photo.
Because last time we used the same picture and they put it in the corner for us, just for one night.
Oh, for one night.
One night.
You just want it one night on the wall?
Yeah, just for one night. Just for one night. Okay. Then one night. Okay? Yeah, that's fine. Shall I let you do it?
Let me do it.
Yeah.
कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी पावनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय गौर निताय की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यैश्वरम् So, Hare Krishna. I'm very happy and grateful again to be here, my second time, to be discussing the very, very important shloka, the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So I'm very, very grateful to temple and devotees for allowing me to speak for my purification. So today's verse is verse 9.34. So we will recite the verse first, translation, purport, and then we can do some discussion. Okay, so the purport is little bit long. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru Mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam Atmanam matparayanaha Manmana bhava madbhakto Madhyaji mam namaskuru Mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam Atmanam matparayanaha Manmana, always thinking of me, Bhava. Yeah. Bhava, become, Mat, my. Bhakta, devotee, Mat, my. Yaji, worshipper, Mam, unto me. Namaskuru, offer obeisances. Mam, unto me. Eva, completely. Ashyasi, you will come. Yukta, being absorbed. Evam, thus. Atmanam, your soul. Matparayanaha, devoted to me. Purport and translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, you will surely come to me. Purport. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kurma Puran, as it is quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhasya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita 5th chapter, Adi Leela verses 41 to 48, Deha Dehi Vibhedoyam Neshware Vidyate Kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. There are some who are demoniac. They also think of Krishna. but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love, that is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna conscious. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material but is eternal. Blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise from the wrong source will prove fruitless. One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the Supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. The 7th and 8th chapters of Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahmajyoti and localized Paramatma. But a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord. There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall down from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental non-devotional activities will diminish and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down, because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the unintelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Wow, such a beautiful purport. It's so remarkable. What is there left to discuss? But following from Srila Prabhupada's purport, to begin with, we can see that before discussing the shloka, let's see the significance of this shloka, because this shloka is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is essence of all Upanishad, as chanted by Sripad Shankaracharya in Gita Mahatmya Shloka 6. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dogdham gitamrutam mahat. All Upanishad are considered a nice cow. So there is an analogy here. And Krishna is the milkman of this cow. And the milk is compared to Bhagavad Gita. The calf that is drinking the milk is Arjuna. So Bhagavad Gita is essence of all the Upanishads. Like the milk is essential blessing of cow. And essence of Bhagavad Gita is in middle 6 chapters, the Bhakti Yoga chapters 7 to 12. Middle 2 chapters 9 and 10 are essence of Bhakti Yoga. And in this verse 9.34 is further essence. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And not only that, this verse is also repeated again in 18th chapter by Krishna. So it is very, very important. So let's see the verse, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, line by line. There are four things that Krishna, four ways Krishna says that one can connect to Krishna. So first thing one should do is Manmana. What does that mean? Always think of me. Bhava Madbhakto, become my devotee. And then he says, Madhyaji, worship me. Mam Namaskuru, offer obeisances unto me. So these four things, Manmana, Bhava Madbhakto, Madhyaji, Mam Namaskuru. Four things one should do. Now the first line, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, it is talking of doing the bhakti with subtle body, with mind. Because in the mind you are supposed to always think of Krishna. So this is at emotional level, internal level, subtle level. And the second line talks about bhakti done with the gross body. It is external, it is done with action level, and that is worship me. So, various ways we worship Krishna, like doing arti, paying obeisances to Krishna. If you do these four things, Krishna says, you will surely come to me, mam evaishyasi yuktvevam, because you have absorbed yourself in my devotion. Give yourself, atmanam matparayanaha, by become my devotee, seeking my shelter. Matpara means having taken shelter of Krishna, surrendered to Krishna. So this is how bhakti is not just done at emotional level or mental level, but it is also action. So we have to combine internal and external. So internally we are always thinking of Krishna, and then those emotions we are expressing through our action, by worshipping, by service, by paying obeisances to Krishna. So bhakti is not just devotion, but bhakti is devotional service. So there was one book I was reading where this devotee says that Srila Prabhupada always translates bhakti not just as devotion, but devotional service. He has very well added this service. It is action. So where you offer your gross and subtle body, both in Krishna's service, Manmana plus Madhyaji, and the result will be, we will go back to Krishna. So be always Krishna conscious. So that is basically the meaning of the verse. The main essence of Bhagavad Gita is become pure devotee of Krishna. Now, Krishna says, those who think of me will surely come to me. Krishna does not say, he does not get into these things that Brahman will come to me, or Kshatriya will come to me, or men will come to me, or women will come to me, poor or rich. He does not get into any of the external differences. So whoever thinks of me, whoever worships me with love, will definitely come to me. So whoever comes in contact with bhakti will be purified. That is the essence. Bhakti does not discriminate between who is qualified and who is not. You can do these four things, you will go to Krishna. So I wanted to mention here, I had heard this beautiful verse in one of the classes. It's from Padyavali. And this explains very well that Lord sees our bhakti, He does not see our background. And I would like to recite the verse, and then I'll just briefly explain. Vyadhyasya charanam dhruvasya chavyo vidya gajendrasya ka kubjayah kimunam rupamadhikam kim tatsudam no dhanam vamsah ko vidurasya yadavapate rugrasya kim paurusham bhaktya tushyati kevalam na chaguner bhakti priyo madhava. This last line is so beautiful. Bhakti priyo Madhava. Madhava, he loves our affection. So in this verse, what they are saying is there was no piety in the hunter called Dharma. Dhruva was only 5 years old. Gajendra, who got the mercy of the Lord, was an elephant. He was an animal. Kubja, she was not beautiful. Sudama was so poor. Vidura was not of high birth, and Ugrasen had no power. He was in the jail, Kamsa's jail. He had no strength. He was weak. How did all these people get favor of Krishna? because Krishna does not discriminate, does not look at the background. He sees your bhakti. Such is Madhava's affection for his devotees, and this is such a hope-giving, faith-strengthening verse. So, Manmana plus Madhyaji, Madbhakto. So here, one more thing I want to mention is, why does Krishna say this separately, that Manmana and Madbhakto? So if you always think of Krishna, then obviously you are devotee of Krishna, right? Why does he have to mention this separately? Because here Krishna is saying that different people, and even Srila Prabhupada says in the verse, that different people can think of Krishna in different ways, right? But we have to think of Krishna with devotion, with love. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions Kamsa. Now, how Kamsa was always thinking of Krishna, but in fear, because he had heard that Akashvani, that the 8th child of Devaki will kill you. So he was Manmana of Krishna, but in fear. And then there was Sishupal, who was always thinking of Krishna with envy and grudge. And Devaki Devi, she was always thinking of Krishna with affection, motherly love. So, and Krishna, so many demons in Vrindavan, they were thinking of Krishna, but in a negative emotion. So we have to be Krishna conscious with positive emotion, love and affection. So that's why Manmana Madbhakto. Always think of me, but as a devotee, in love, in that feeling. And thinking of Krishna, it is like should come naturally. It is not like a practice whereby, say, a student is writing an exam. So he has to go through his curriculum, he has to memorize everything, and then he has to, as an obligation, then write it all down in exam. So he's really trying hard to memorize. But that's not the type of memory Krishna is talking about. He's saying, to think of Krishna is a natural state for the soul, because remember in 15th chapter there is a beautiful verse, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So we belong with Krishna. So thinking of Krishna happens naturally. And that is why it's not an obligation. So one who is in pure consciousness, who is in love, who is in affection with Krishna, natural inclination will be to think of Krishna. So, and also Manmana, there is a beautiful meaning, one more meaning of Manmana given by Ramanujacharya. He says that, say for example, when you go to Ganges, you take bath, you immerse your body in the river, in the waters to purify yourself. In the same way, there are 7 oceans of qualities of Krishna. And he says you have to immerse your mind in these 7 oceans of qualities of Krishna. So I'll briefly explain. The first ocean is Karunya. So Krishna is ocean of compassion. Saushilya, Krishna is ocean of all virtues. Saundarya, Krishna is ocean of beauty. 4th is Madhurya, Krishna is ocean of sweetness. Gambhirya, Krishna is ocean of gravity. Number 6, Audarya, Krishna is the ocean of benevolence. And 7th, Vatsalya, Krishna is ocean of affection. So, if one can immerse their mind in these 7 oceans of qualities of Krishna, that is Manmana. And this is not very difficult because there is so much there to know about Krishna. Bhagavatam, 12 cantos, 18,000 verses, Bhagavad Gita. These are the 2 main Srila Prabhupada gave to start with. So there is so much to talk about Krishna and know about Krishna, his Naam, Rupa, Guna, Leela, incarnations, qualities, pastimes. So we should know all this, and we can thus immerse ourselves in thinking about Krishna, and that will happen naturally over a period of time. Then the next thing in the verse is Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. And that is the second line in the verse, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto. We have done that. Now Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So this is bhakti done at gross level, at the action level. So the services we do. So say for example the aarti, simple aarti we perform. We are offering dhoop, deep, flowers, fruits, naivedya, and we are bowing down to Krishna. But the deeper meaning of bhakti is not just offering something to Krishna. Yes, that is good, making offerings. But what Krishna is talking about here is to offer ourselves to Krishna. We don't make just an offering to Krishna, but we offer ourselves to Krishna. That is the ultimate state of bhakti. That is Madhya Jimam Namaskuru. And so the best example also there is that in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, if you see, there was one king, Prataprudra, and he set the perfect example for a worldly leader who, by performing the menial service of sweeping the road before Lord Jagannath's chariot, he offered himself to Krishna, right? So offering our false ego, offering our false identity, letting it all go in the service of Krishna, belonging to Krishna with humility. So, as we said before, we are eternal parts of Krishna, and there is a loving bond between us and Krishna. And the Bhakti Yoga is the path which takes us to that destination, to revive our relationship with the Lord. And we consider ourselves property of the Lord. And in His loving service and association, we do these 4 things. What was that? Manmana, Bhavamad Bhakto, Madhyajimam, Namaskuru. 4 things. In loving association of Krishna, for the rest of eternity, we can go back to Him. So it sounds simple, but it is not. But we have to start the process, right? Bhakti Yoga is simple if we keep it simple that way. So we can start with doing these 4 things. Make a practice of doing this. And then talking about how to absorb our mind in Krishna. As I said, there are so many pastimes and beautiful instructive stories in Bhagavatam. And 10th canto is the cream of Bhagavatam. And in there, I really like this beautiful verse that I like to recite in Bhagavatam 10th canto. And if we can think of Krishna in this way, this verse describes that when Krishna enters Vrindavan, how does he look? What is that ambience around him? What is that beauty around him? That's what this verse. And anytime I just get the time, whenever maybe 10 times a day, just recite this verse, because once you have memorized, it gives such joy. It just gives so much joy. So the verse is, बर्हापीडं नटवरवपु कर्णयो कर्णिकारं बिभ्रद्वासः कनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च मालां रन्ध्राण्वेणोरधरसुधया पूरणन् गोपवृन्दैर्वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणं प्राविशद्गीतकीर्तिः. So here, this beautiful verse, the translation is that it's describing Krishna. He's wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikar flowers in his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland. Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers, Natavaravapu, as he entered the forest of Vrindavan. Beautifying it with the marks of his footprints, he filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. So, can you see that how Krishna must be, how beautiful it must be, that Krishna would be walking barefoot and all the signs on his lotus feet will be imprinted in the sand, the soft sand of Vrindavan. And nobody would step over these footprints, not even monkeys. Everybody will keep the footprints as it is because they are Krishna's footprints. So this is the beauty of Krishna, the sweetness. There is so much madhurya, sweetness. So as we were talking about these 7 oceans of Krishna, even one of them, the beauty, the madhurya, the benevolence, compassion, there is so much. So that is manmana. We don't have to stop our daily activities that we have to do because that is our duty. A mother cannot say that, oh, today I am doing manmana of Krishna, I will not cook. What will the children eat? So, no, you are doing your duty, but you are always trying to meditate on the beauty of the Lord, and the best part is Krishna in Vrindavan. That is the main essence. And then Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, doing all the different activities also. So mentally you're thinking of Krishna and using your body for the service of the Krishna. And then there is one more beautiful verse I have taken from Mukund Bala Stotra. And these beautiful prayers are sung by King Kulushekhar. So that is the verse number 20. जिह्वे कीर्तय केशवं मुररिपुं चेतो भज श्रीधरं पाणि द्वन्द्वसमर्चयाच्युतकथा स्तोत्रद्वयत्वं शृणु कृष्णं लोकय लोचनद्वयहरेर्गच्छाङ्घ्रियुग्मालयं जिग्रघ्राणमुकुन्दपादतुलसीं मूर्धन्यमादोक्षजम्. So here this beautiful prayer of King Kulashekhar. He is saying that, O tongue, praise the glories of Lord Keshava. O mind, worship the enemy of Mura. O hands, serve the Lord of Shri. O ears, hear the topics of Lord Achyuta. O eyes, gaze upon Shri Krishna. O feet, go to the temple of Lord Hari. O nose, smell the tulsi birds on Lord Mukunda's feet. O head, bow down to Lord Adokshaja. So this is how one can utilize all the senses and the mind in thinking of Krishna and serving Krishna. That will be the perfection of life. As Srila Prabhupada always says, you can become a perfect devotee if you do these four things. So, and then there is one beautiful analogy in the second canto, 2.3, 20 to 24, where there is it's a very good contrast. You know, knowing all the things that we should do is very nice, but when things are not done, then that also gives us a good lesson to something to reflect on. So here in this verse, it says that one who has not listened to the messages about the prowess and marvelous acts of the personality of Godhead, and he has not sung or chanted loudly the worthy songs about Lord, is to be considered to possess ear holes like the holes snakes live in, and a tongue like the tongue of a frog. The head that is crowned with silk turban is only heavy burden, if not bowed to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I thought this was such a beautiful contrast analogy here to learn from. And then in the verse here, Krishna says, Atmanam matparayanaha. So what is this matparayanaha? Atmanam is giving ourselves to Krishna, and matparayanaha means that surrendering to Krishna. So in verse 2.61 Bhagavad Gita, again this verse, this word matpara comes. And there in that, if you look at the purport, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned the 9th canto, 4th chapter, a beautiful verse there again, which explains the Atmanam Matparayanaha. King Amrish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, engaged his words, hands, ears, eyes, his body, his nostrils, tongue. He tasted tulsi leaves, his legs were walking to the temple, his head was bowing to Lord, and his desires were in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a matpara, devotee of the Lord. So he took complete shelter of Lord and devoted himself to Lord Krishna. And there Srila Prabhupada mentions 3 verses, 18 to 20, but I'll just recite the 18th one. Savai manah Krishna padarvindayor vachamsi vaikuntha gunanuvarnane karau harer mandiramajanadishu shrutim chakara chuta satkathodaye. Matparayanaha. Krishna says, in my devotion, seeking my shelter, how to become matpara is described in the life of Ambarish Maharaj. No one can be desireless. We all have desires. We cannot stay without doing any action at any time. So desires are there, but one has to change the quality of one's desires. One who understands that everything belongs to Supreme Lord Krishna does not desire anything for his selfish enjoyment, and he does not falsely claim proprietorship. We are all part and parcel of Krishna and thus his eternal servitor. This is Krishna consciousness and basic principle of real peace, says Srila Prabhupada. Thus, real desirelessness is desire for satisfaction of Krishna. It is not an artificial attempt to abolish desires. So we should not prematurely give up activities or desires saying that, oh, I give up everything, but mentally we are meditating on how to enjoy the senses. So that will be artificial vairagya. So the best way is to, okay, all the facilities we have, fine, we will use it for Krishna, but use it for Krishna. And there is another beautiful verse in Bhagavatam, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Everyone knows this verse, right? So this verse is spoken by Sutta Goswami to Naimisharanya sages. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be ahaituki, unmotivated, and apratihata, uninterrupted, to completely satisfy the self. The self here means Lord Krishna. So, we still have time, 15 to 20 minutes, and I still have some more to discuss, if that's okay. Okay. So there is one very, very beautiful paragraph from Srila Prabhupada's lecture, which I think we will end with that sweet, sweet paragraph at the end. But just to go through, the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, this verse, Man mana bhava mad bhakto, is repeated again. And with a little bit difference of the last line, where it means that Arjuna, you are very dear devotee of mine. That is why I am sharing this most important knowledge with you. So to start with, sometimes some people say that the verse which is 18.66, Sarva dharman parityajya mamevam sharanam vraja. That should be the essence. But this is all in connection. If you read 18.64, 65 and 66, it gives complete understanding, Srila Prabhupada says. Verse 18.64 says, Sarva guhya tamam bhuyaha. Bhuyaha means Sarva guhya tamam, most confidential knowledge. Bhuyaha means again, shrunu me. Paramam vachaha means here, Shrunu means listen to me, Arjuna. Krishna says, I am saying this again, bhuyaha. What am I saying? Sarva guhyatamam, most confidential. I am speaking my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. And I am repeating this again, bhuyaha. So 9.34 and then 65. So after saying this, that here the most confidential, the next verse comes is 65. And in 65, it explains what is 9.34. Do these four things. Manmana, just always think of me. Mad bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji mam, worship me. And namaskuru, offer your obeisances to me. And what happens in verse number 66 is Sarva dharman parityajya mamema sharanam bhaja. So, verse 65 is the components of surrender. How to surrender, these four things are there. And verse 66 says, Sarva dharman parityajya mameva sharanam bhaja. So, first, the procedure is given. How to surrender in 65, and 66 says surrender is the essence of essence of essence. So 65 and 66, one gives how to do it, other one says what to do, one says how to do. So 65 and 66 are the most confidential knowledge of all and are his supreme instruction. Srila Prabhupada has many times explained this same point. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna. So concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna, that is why deity worship is so important. Because even when we come to take darshan of Krishna, what do? We start with the lotus feet of Gokulananda. We start taking darshan first. We take darshan of Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara with their permission. Then we go on to, with their blessings, take darshan of Gokulananda. And there is a beautiful verse in Bhagavatam, if I remember. When we take darshan of the Lord in 3rd canto, there is a verse... Sanchintayet bhagavatascharanarvindam vajrankushadvaja sararuhalanchanadyam uttungaraktavilasannakhachakravala jyotsna birahat mahat hridayandhakaram. If we take the darshan of lotus feet of the Lord, all the darkness and misery and sadness of my heart will be vanquished. Remember, from this lotus feet, the entire universe has taken place, is born. So that's how we take darshan of the Lord, and doing this will remove all the miseries of one's heart, one's mind, and that is manmana, absorbing in the thoughts and activities and pastimes and loving memory of the Lord. So this is the essence, and in this way Krishna says, you will understand me, the personality of Godhead, and ultimately you will come back to me, back to Godhead, back home. So the real prasada, what is the actual meaning of prasada? Yes, of course, the bhoga, the prasad that we eat, but the main other meaning, real meaning of prasada is to get the causeless mercy of the Lord. That is prasada, and that is the ultimate reward that Krishna will give us, is when he will bestow his causeless mercy upon us, when we have pleased him, when we have pleased our Guru and Guru Parampara. So just to end, I think we will end early, it's 8:15, but in a lecture of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, 15.51, Srila Prabhupada said in Los Angeles on 28th December 1973. So I will read as it is, that, and the very simple thing is ya idam paramam guhyam, mad bhakteshva abhidhasyati. This confidential service, preaching of Bhagavad Gita, is essence, is sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Simply go and preach man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Just worship Krishna, namaskuru, just offer your obeisances to Krishna, 4 words. Then you become a preacher. How? Very simple thing. Srila Prabhupada says, go and speak what Krishna says. That's all. And the result we get is prasad of Krishna, his causeless mercy. And that's also explained in 2.65. His causeless mercy, the prasada we get, is the supreme award of Krishna. So that is the result of doing man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktavaivam atmanam mat parayanaha. So I'm very grateful as a neophyte sadhaka. I'm not a devotee, I'm a practicing devotee, and I really hope to purify myself. I'm very, very grateful actually that I've got this verse today. I'm very grateful, Mataji, that it helped me while preparing to understand this purport of Srila Prabhupada nicely and for my own purification. So I'm very, very grateful and very, very happy to be able to glorify Krishna with my limited ability. But this is what I really love doing, is glorify Krishna at my level with my whatever ability and limited knowledge. But it gives me a lot of happiness, and in some little way I can serve my guru and mentors and all the devotees, then that's really good for me. So thank you so much. I'll conclude here. Any question, realization, comment, or correction, please? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yes, definitely. So I heard this in one class. So that is explanation of Ramanujacharya, and he said that Manmana. So these are the seven oceans of the qualities of Krishna. At the same time, he has also mentioned the seven oceans of all the qualities of Radharani as well, which I have separately. But today I just mentioned Krishna. So the first one he says is Karunya. So Krishna is ocean of compassion. Second he says Saushilya. Krishna is ocean of all the virtues, Saushilya. Third is Saundarya. Krishna is ocean of beauty. There is no one as beautiful as Krishna, as we just recited the Barhapidam verse, right? So he's very, very beautiful. He's ocean of beauty, Saundarya. So Karunya, Saushilya, Saundarya. The fourth one is Madhurya. Krishna is very, very sweet. He is ocean of sweetness. The fifth one is Gambhirya. So he is ocean of gravity. Krishna is also very grave. So many pastimes in Bhagavatam where Krishna has depicted his gravity. And then sixth one is Audharya. And Audharya means also benevolence and compassion both. So Audharya, Krishna is ocean of Audharya. And the seventh and last one is Vatsalya. He is full of affection for all of us. So ocean of affection. So first is Karunya, compassion. Saushilya, all the virtues. Third, Saundarya, beauty. Fourth, Madhurya, sweetness. Fifth, Gambhirya. Sixth, Audharya, benevolence. And seventh, Vatsalya, ocean of affection. So in this way, if we can immerse ourselves in so many beautiful qualities of Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela of Krishna, and there is so much there that there is no shortage. If we want to absorb and read and learn in devotee association, there is so much. That's why we attend Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam classes at temple, online or in person, whatever is possible. So that is the definition of Manmana by Ramanujacharya. And I thought that was so beautiful. That's why then I thought I will mention the Barhapidam verse, that how Krishna enters Vrindavan. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. Because, and here the example we can see from practical life is that, say, for example, the children have gone to university to study and the parents are at home, and they don't have to make a note, right? They don't have to make an effort that, oh, today at this time I have to remember my child. No, it happens naturally. It is a natural state of a mother or father to think that, okay, now we are eating, so what is our child eating? Wherever the child is, what is he or she doing at this time? So Manmana, that is happening. And I think same for children. They also, I know they are very busy studying, but they are also thinking of parents without having to make a note or study that, oh, I have to memorize today about my parents. I have to, no, I mean, it happens naturally. So that's what they are saying, that that's our natural status. But being put in this material world, what happened is because our situation is such, we are this marginal energy, right? So there is this false ego, there are so many layers and there are so many modes working, goodness, passion and ignorance. So these gunas are really working on us all the time. And that's why, and you know, it is so hard, Maya Devi, our senses, we know the body chariot analysis, that all the senses are, the horses are running and the reins are the mind. The mind is supposed to control the senses. And mind should be controlled by intelligence. And the passenger is the soul. So soul is pure in state, Satchidanand. But that's why studying the scriptures is so important for us, that it sharpens our intelligence, then we can choose right or wrong. because the mind is always thinking, feeling, and feeling. So the mind will start making plans when he has seen some sense object, all the five senses, and it's trying to plan and see that how to enjoy the senses. But if the intelligence is sharpened, then the right discrimination will come, what to choose and what not to choose. And that is why mind is doing it all. But bigger than mind, I think the culprit is false ego. So that's why devotees association, it humbles us, the humility, right? His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj always mentions this verse, right? Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadaharin. So this is so important, and it humbles us when we are amongst devotees. We learn from them, and we see how all our senior devotees around us, they help us learn, and they are the ones who can show us the mirror. And they are the ones who are the representatives of Krishna, because Krishna cannot come personally, but through devotees he is guiding us. And we are extremely grateful for that, because if someone doesn't point out that where you are going wrong, if they don't come and tell us that, oh, Prabhu, or Mataji, you just missed while you were chanting. And even not only seniors, even new devotees can guide us and help us. I have seen sometimes even... giving an example is someone who learned to chant newly the mantra. I have seen, has said somebody who's been chanting for years that, oh, by the way, I just heard so innocently the devotee saying, you are missing Krishna once when you chant your mantra. And that person is me, whom I was told, you are missing Krishna once. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, am I? And then I chanted. I'm like, oh, yes. And how long I've been doing this? So even the new devotees can help us. That's why I think my Guru Maharaj mentions humility. It's not just very, very senior devotees, but any devotee around us, we have to take guidance. And I mean, if they correct us, great. Thank you, Prabhu. We should say thank you for helping me. So, and in this case, the person who was telling me was a child. So I was like, wow, right, okay, you are sent by Krishna, thank you. So yes, back to your realization of thinking of Krishna all the time is not easy. This verse is like the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So at least we are discussing and learning from Srila Prabhupada, and we can pray, right? My prayer is always that, please help me, Krishna, one day I can, please you. I know my position, I am a sadhaka, but I have no other option but to seek your mercy. So if we pray in this way, then hopefully there is some hope. But this is a very hope-giving verse. And in 2.40 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that any bhakti done, there is no loss or diminution, right? We start from where we stop. So bhakti yoga, out of all the yoga in Bhagavad Gita is given so much importance because of this, that anything you do is not gone to waste. There are so many examples. Gajendra prayers, he was King Indradyumna in the last life, but as an animal, Krishna helped him to remember from his past life the prayers that he remembered. One of the prayer, and he's praying, whoever I'm praying to, please come and help me. This thing is going on for 1,000 years with this crocodile who was Huhu in the last life. And thus Krishna comes very quickly on Garuda. Lord Vishnu comes and saves. So in Ajamil, we know from Ajamil story that there is no loss or diminution. So yes, thank you so much. We'll conclude here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.